23 things I learned in 23 years, specifically the last one in no particular order. But hello YouTube, it's me Tabea, and this is Not Quite a Degree, where we usually talk about things that I don't have a degree in but have an opinion on or want to talk about. But today we're actually talking about me. I compiled a list in this beautiful little journal of mine. Isn't it beautiful? Look at him, he's sparkling. Can you see that? He's sparkling. He is. A couple things that can you see that? I don't know if you can, yeah. So, just a random list of things that I kind of learned this year and kind of didn't know when I was 22, and now I'm 23 and I know them and I'm so much smarter, and life is so much better, I guess. So I thought maybe it's fun to kind of just talk about it and see what I learned, and then maybe you can share what you learned and we can all share together how much of a mess growing up sometimes is. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Being honest in your journal is such a hard thing to do. Yeah, for my goals this year, I wanted to kind of spend a lot of time reflecting and like thinking about how I talk to people, how I interact with people, and kind of just really take all the time to see, okay, are my actions the way I want them to be, or can I work on myself without actually working on myself, just really the reflecting part of things. And so I made a point to, at the end of, like, I've been journaling for years, but at the end of the day, sit down and actually really write down what I think, okay, I talked to this person in this way, and this is why I think is good or bad. And in doing that, I kind of realized how hard it is to really honestly talk to yourself and be like, hey, you fucked up today, that sucked, you were mean to that person, or you were ignorant, or you just really don't care, do you? I just kind of took away that really, first off, I guess we shouldn't beat ourselves up about that because, well, we're all still learning. But also, I feel like it's such a more intense journaling experience when you actually write down things that are not fun or that are not just kind of superficial, like today I did this and then I did this and then I did that, but like actually get into your own gut and feelings. And so yeah, I kind of would advise you to try it. It's hard, but it's really rewarding in the end. And also I'm also journaling a lot more now because it just takes time to do that, I guess. Level up in my journaling game, I guess. Almond butter is freaking dope. I have been putting off buying almond butter for the entire year because I'm a broke ass student, but this last Wednesday? I don't know, it doesn't matter. I splurged, I got myself a big jar of almond butter, and oh my gosh, it's so good. Go get yourself some, and also, like, don't get the sweetened kind, but I don't think almond butter is often kind of sweetened. Anyway, just get it, try it, it's good. It's okay to panic, but don't let it get to you. That sounded really British in my really bad British accent. I have written my bachelor thesis this year, as you'll know if you've seen my last video on this channel, and that was a really rough time. It was a 3-month period where I really experienced a kind of stress that I hadn't experienced before, because it's not like, oh, there's an exam on that and that day and here is the 300 pages that you have to know by then by heart. It's a project, so you know where you want to go but you don't really know how to get there. And that was a kind of stress that really like got to me in the beginning. I felt super overwhelmed. I couldn't even go out to the library, and I just kind of, like, as I said in my last video, I just kind of spent time in bed in a fetus position being like, I hate myself, what am I doing? What I really took away from that time is, if you don't know what you're doing, don't panic. Like, just do what you can do in one day, and even if that's not enough, even if it's just 2 hours, just go do it and just try to enjoy the process, I guess. There were people in my life last year or in the past years that are no longer in my life, as it happens, it's not a problem. But since they're like kind of gone, as you can say, I've just kind of experienced a bit of anger or annoyance with them, and I don't even want to get into that. But what I feel like I've learned throughout the past year in particular is that going through all that annoyance and stuff, and what I want to kind of take into the next year as well, is trying to let go of it and like trying to find a way to deal with other people's behavior that are not affecting me anymore without like resenting them for it, I guess. Going forward for the next year as well, I kind of want to just try to separate myself from these people and be like, okay, this is their behavior, this is my behavior. I want to be a positive person with a positive attitude, and I know that not all of the things that I'm doing are things that I approve of, but I kind of just need to get over it, need to deal with it, and I don't want to be mean to them or about them anymore. So yeah, that's what I mean by letting go, and that was like so rambly right now. Number 5. Birthdays should be celebrated on the day that they happen. Last year I celebrated my birthday a day early, so we had like a party at our house and we were like having a really good time just overall, but we celebrated so that we would kind of have a big celebration at midnight and be like, yay, it's your birthday now, which was really fun. But then we all, you know, at some point went to bed at like really early in the morning, and I got up a couple hours later realizing, oh, it's my birthday, but also realizing, oh, the party has already happened. I'm like, but it's my birthday. So yeah, I just kind of, well, it was a really, really good party. I took away from it that I'm not the biggest fan of celebrating your birthday early. Maybe it's also like just not waking up with a hangover on your birthday. See, sir, I really, really do love teaching. I had the chance to teach my first group of students last year. Well, teaching them, kind of tutoring them, mentoring them, and preparing them for an exam. But for me it was kind of like teaching, because I was preparing lessons, I was working with them and for them, and just kind of in a teacher role, and I loved it so much. I really, really want to teach more in my life. I love 20th century fiction, and I didn't know that when I was 22. And I'm hoping to kind of extend on that and maybe talk about that on this channel later this year. We'll see. 8. Beer makes you gain weight. Who would have guessed? I had a time in my life last year for a couple months where I was being not so stressed out about uni, which is surprising because that never happens. But it was like the first, I don't know, 6 weeks of the semester, so it was still not super busy. So I spent a lot of time socializing, and prior to that I had lost some weight. I would go, like, got fit, I guess. I was doing a lot of running. And then I was doing a lot of beer drinking, or drinking beer, and that didn't go down too well. Around Christmas time I was just like, okay, I have gained all the weight back. That I lost. Maybe I should kind of stop with the beer. 9. There is no greater feeling than exams being done. Like, no greater feeling. The next thing I learned this year is basically a companion for him. It's him. I already said I journal, and I try to kind of write long texts in my journal. But what I did this year is I had a thought journal, which is like this snazzy little, really beautiful journal, I think, where I will just sit down maybe once a day, or sometimes several times throughout the day, and just write down like random thoughts I had. Like, a lady I saw on the street had like a fancy hat, or why do elephants, or just, I don't know, like random thoughts. Like, I don't know, maybe I just came up with like a good idea for like a business or an NGO that should exist, or like super random stuff really. And I feel like it's so nice to just have an outlet where you can go and you just kind of dump everything that's in your head, and that way it's out and you're like, I'm free of it, and whenever I want to come back to it I can, and maybe elaborate on that, and it's great. Reading a daily paper is something that I have been doing for quite a few months in the past year. I really enjoy it. It's just really great to know your politics, to talk to people, to be like, okay, I'm already informed on that, so we can like talk about what you think about it. And I just really had some really good conversations because of it, and felt generally more informed and generally more adult when it came to my surroundings and things that happen in this country. So it's a good thing, and I happen to get one for free every day, so that's pretty sweet too. I started using Twitter this year, and lord, there's a lot of stuff happening on that platform. I'm guessing lots of people are like, dude, we've been using it for 10 years, what have you been talking about? But I'm like, I haven't. I've been playing that Instagram game, I've been playing that YouTube game for years. I don't know. So yeah, welcome me onto your platform, show me your people, show me your world, I guess. I would be very happy to be your friend. 13. I know more than I thought about video editing than I thought. And also I don't know anything about video editing at all. I've been using Photoshop for several years. Like, I'm not a pro at it, but I know how to use it. And so I was like, okay, Premiere Pro and that kind of stuff, we'll try it. I've never tried it before, and I actually figured it out quite fast. And I also figured out some things in After Effects quite fast. And so I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I kind of want to elaborate that and work out more things that I can learn. And I'm really having fun with it. But I'm also kind of like, this is magic. How do people even do that? Like, I look at videos now and think, how did they do that? What? But I also sometimes look at videos and think, I know how to do that. 14. This one kind of goes with the newspaper one and the Twitter one maybe. Politics. I kind of got into politics in the last year, and it's not like I know a lot of stuff about it, but I definitely had more conversations about it, and I follow some politicians now and just kind of generally try to have an interest in it. And I already also went to like a youth group kind of thing. I don't really know what the technical term for that is. I feel like there's a lot to learn there, and I made my first steps and I'm proud of myself for that. Statistics and macroeconomics are fucking hard. I've taken courses in both of them this semester and I struggled with both of them. I got through them though, I passed, but it wasn't pretty. And let me tell you, I am impressed by every single person I ever meet that is like, oh yeah, economics, I get that. Sports related, yes, 16. I missed an entire World Cup even though I live with at least 3 people permanently in this apartment that loves soccer, aka football. I managed to not watch a single game of this World Cup in full length, and I'm kind of proud of that. No, I studied a lot during that time, and I also just wasn't feeling it this year. And I don't know if that is anything you can be proud of, but it's just a fact that I learned that yes, even though there's soccer on TV literally every day from 2 to 9 o'clock, it's possible to not watch a single game. Also sports related, I can run further than I thought I would. Yeah, I have done a lot of running this past year and I have really gotten a lot better. I enjoy it. I've been running for years, but this year has just been a good year for running. And this is a travel related one. 18. I really want to go to VidCon. I have watched lots and lots of Insta stories from VidCon last year and just videos and everything, and I'm like, oh, I really want to go. So I'm kind of keeping an eye out on the agenda of the London VidCon that's gonna happen in the beginning of 2019, because that's so much closer and so much more manageable for me to do. To go over there and spend a weekend than it would be to go over to the States. At the same time though, I have already looked at flights and it's not even that expensive to go to California. And I mean, it's the 10th anniversary of VidCon, so we'll see. 19. I got off contraception this year, and man, adult acne is a thing, it is painful, and yes, I do advise everybody to get off birth control. Oh no, I should not say that. No, I don't advise you to go off contraceptives. But if you want to go off contraceptives, yes, there are positive side effects to that, like feeling much more yourself, feeling much happier. But also your face is gonna hate you, and there's gonna be like pimple demons that are basically eating into your flesh for several weeks, and that's not so pretty. 20. It is possible to pass an exam without ever seeing the professor. Yes. Yes, I do study 2 degrees, which is why sometimes things happen at the same time, or I'm busy, or I just don't want to go, frankly, to a lecture. And this year, for the first time, I took a course or a class where I had to take a written exam at the end of the semester, and I didn't even go once. I got the password for the online course, so I could get the material, but I didn't go to the lecture once, and to be honest, I have no idea what the professor looks like. I know it was a woman, but that's about it. but I took the exam and I passed the exam. It wasn't great, but I did it. And I'm like, yeah, like that's a great thing. You suck. I really learned to deeply appreciate my best friend this year. My best friend had kind of a rough time in the, if you basically go back a year from now, which she has come out of. Things are fine now, but I feel like we've really gone a lot closer since then, even though we've known each other for like 10 years. And I had several occasions throughout this year where I would be like on the phone to her and just think, hey, I love you, so if you ever watch this, I love you. And I'm so thankful that you are in my life. And that was something that I had not experienced that intensely with her or with anybody in the years prior to that. 22, and we're going deep in the end here. Letting go of somebody can sometimes take 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I talked about people that leave your life before, but there's some people that leave your life without you wanting them to leave your life, and so you're like, hey, why don't you come back? But then they don't come back, and they don't come back for 4 years, and after 4 years you're still there like and then eventually some random thing happens and you're all of a sudden like, excuse me, what? Like, why have I thought about you for 4 years? What? And then you let go of them. And that's pretty beautiful because it's healthy for you and for them, and life goes on. Lastly, I went to a wedding and I now know how weddings work, and it was beautiful, and I'm so thankful that I got to experience it. I hope everybody gets the chance to go to such a beautiful wedding once, where you can just see the love between two people and see how much work has been put into that day and just enjoy it. That was cool because that was happening on my 23rd birthday, so it's like the last thing that I learned in that year, and at the same time the first thing that I learned in my 24th year on this planet, I guess. So that was pretty sweet. So that was like a super speedy rundown of my 23rd year on this planet Earth, I guess. Like things I learned, things that I experienced, and I hope maybe it was interesting for you, maybe you connected on some things, and if you did so, then I would be super happy if you connected with me or slid in those DMs or whatever. Yeah, just kind of feel free to reach out. I'd be super happy to talk to you, answer questions, and just kind of meet cool people. So subscribe if you want to, and we'll see each other in another video, possibly next week or so.